Hello, I'm Baily. In today's episode, I'm going to be counting down my top 5 moments from The Witch's Familiar. Which, just a random point, the title sequence was in sync. Jesus, how long has that taken? Because it's really bloody annoying when there's a title sequence that isn't in sync with the music. Welcome to the Brain of Baily. Sorry, that was quite mean. But let's get started with the countdown. Okay, starting at number 5, we have the Doctor in Davros' chair. That whole scene I thought was really amazing and really quite... It was dark because it was like a really morbid thing, but at the same time it was quite hilarious. But it was... I mean, he's ripped him out of his chair. He's ripped a dying man out of his life support system, left him on the floor, then got in his life support system, although don't know where his legs have gone because Davros has no legs, so I don't know where the Doctor put his legs, unless sort of bent them up and a bit weird. But he then got in the life support system and drove round to the Dalek control room, which it was just such... It was a brilliant scene, and it was really, really funny. But it was dark in the way that it was the Doctor kind of without hope. We saw the Doctor without hope. We saw him beg that Clara was still alive. And the music in that scene was fantastic, and it was really emotional, and you kind of got a bit set back a bit, because it was like, oh, the Doctor's in Davros' chair, that's quite funny, but oh, he's really upset, and he wants Clara to be alive, and he's about to burst into tears, that's not so funny. And it was just a really good scene, it was fantastic, I loved it. Number 4, we have Clara as a Dalek, something we have kind of seen in Asylum of the Daleks, but in a completely different sort of way. Now, I liked a lot of the scenes with Clara and the Dalek, but I think my top scene was when the Doctor was in the corridor and he met the Dalek and he thought that it was a real Dalek wanting to kill him, but it was actually Clara and the Dalek. That scene was really sad because you knew that Clara had nothing to say. She couldn't get out of it, and the Doctor had no idea, and Missy, being the twat that she is, sort of wanted Clara dead. I think that kind of squashed any sort of plans of Missy. Like, people like, I'd love Missy as a companion. Not anymore. That isn't happening now. She just tried to kill Clara. That's never going to happen. But it was such a good scene and really sad and emotional. And then when it finally opened, and the Doctor told Missy to run, that scene, that shot on the Doctor's face was like so good. You could just see how angry he was, and how much he was internalising his want to kill Missy there and then. But it was really good, and the whole look of it as well looked really good. I mean, it was a bit weird that there was a convenient chair in Dalek. I think the interior of a Dalek changes every single Dalek story just to make it convenient, but you know, I'm sure we'll live. But it actually looked really good when the Dalek opened and she was moving and the Dalek was still open. It all looked really, really good. And but again, it was really dark because you've got a Dalek that isn't allowed to say what it actually wants to say because Davros has programmed it to change words. So you've got a Dalek in there that could be screaming for help, and what the Dalek's actually saying is exterminate. And that, sort of the underlying tone of that was really, really dark. But no, the scene with the Doctor and Dalek, Clara and Missy was one of my favourite scenes. Because you also weren't really sure, because it lasted quite a while, and you weren't really sure whether the Doctor was going to shoot the Dalek. And that would have been quite interesting. As a death of a companion, I think the Doctor killing the companion would be quite an interesting sort of turn. And I think it will probably never happen, because it's really dark, but I think it would be really interesting to have the Doctor live with the grief of him murdering a companion because he thought there was something else. I thought that would be quite cool. But no, the scene was amazing, and the whole Missy run was really good, and that's why it's at number 4. At number 3, we have the pre-title sequence, but mainly just the scene where we get an explanation for how Missy and Clara escaped the Daleks. I thought that scene... I never really thought we'd get an explanation for how she left in Death in Heaven, and I never really thought we'd get an explanation for how she survived the extermination, apart from, yeah, I just teleported, it's really convenient. But the way they handled the explanation of it all was fantastic. You had the black and white shots of Tom Baker, and then William Hartnell, and then back to Peter Capaldi. Because it made sense, because the Master's been with all the Doctors, and it makes sense that if she's remembering a story, it might look like a different Doctor to what was actually involved in the story at the time. It just made sense, and it was just really... And it looked amazing. It looked amazing in black and white. And the music, it was great as well, because when I was first watching it, the music was really good, but you were a bit confused at what was actually happening. And until Clara actually worked out that it was the lasers that charged the teleport and teleported them away. It was really sort of weird and but fantastic at the same time. But the way Missy sort of handled that scene as well was fantastic. I'll get to Missy in a minute, but she was just fantastic in that scene when she's sharpening the stick, and then when Clara asked her if she can have a stick, and the title sequence. It was just, I love that scene. It was really good, and it's one of those scenes that just keep playing over and over again because the music is fantastic and the visuals are also amazing. At number 2, I kind of cheated a little bit because it's not a scene as such. It's not a moment. It's sort of half the episode, but it's the one-to-one with the Doctor and Davros. It's those moments were really, really good because they were emotional, but you were confused because you were getting emotional over Davros, who has killed hundreds of thousands of people, hundreds of millions of people, and you sort of sat there going, I kind of feel sorry for him, but I don't really want to, and that was really weird. It really played with the emotions. And when Davros opened his eyes as well, we've never seen that before, and that was really, really good. And it looked like he was crying, and it was just all, and the Doctor and Davros had a little laugh. It was just all like really sort of weird. You didn't like it, but you kind of wanted to like it. You hated the fact you felt emotional for Davros, but it wasn't right, But it was all those scenes were really good, and the music was good, and it was just played out so well, and especially because it was only Davros and the Doctor in a room for the majority of the episode. The acting involved was amazing. It wasn't, it could have easily been a bit shit, but it wasn't. It was really good and really emotional. And then when the Doctor goes, I'll give you some regeneration energy, and then he gets caught and Davros turns around and he's still evil, you're kind of happy. You're kind of happy that Davros had a plan all this time and he's still an evil dictator that wants to kill everyone. Kind of glad that's a thing. What kind of confuses me there is the Doctor can just use sort of regeneration energy when he wants now, apparently. But it also affects him down the road. Like he said, I'll probably lose a leg down the road, won't have to regenerate it back or whatever. But he was attached to that machine for quite a while, so a lot of regeneration energy was used. So has he used another regeneration energy doing that? Because he was there for a long time. I kind of feel like he's used the body, just having it pulled out of him. But I doubt that's the case. But it was still a fantastic part of an episode. It was brilliant. At number 1, I have cheated again. I have just Missy. I love Missy, and she was amazing in this episode. A few people were saying that she didn't have really much to do, but she was fantastic. Her and Clara, the scenes with Clara were amazing, and they were so needed because you had the Doctor and Davros, which were quite dark and emotional scenes, and what you really needed then to juxtapose that was the Clara and Missy scenes. The really good sort of evil Missy, but still kind of likeable. And it worked so well, because Missy is still evil, still 100% evil. She pushes Clara down holes, she almost gets Clara killed. And I'm really glad that she's still evil, because you still really like her a lot. Love Missy. We also got a little hint that the Master had a daughter, which, makes sense. My theory is, how cool would it be if the Doctor had a son, right? The Master had a daughter. Those two got married, had a kid named Susan. Eh? Another great scene with the Master or with Missy was with the Daleks, because her and the Daleks sort of, I think she can just work with anyone, anything, and make it really funny. Her and the Supreme Dalek, and then we also saw her sort of save the Doctor's life, which is something that I really loved, because it's really nice to see someone you hate save someone you like, because it just makes you like them a little bit more, and it made me like Missy a little bit more, if that made sense. But the scene where the Daleks have like a load of regeneration energy flowing out of them, and Missy's going, no, I have to go and save the Doctor, and she runs after them. She's kind of, in that moment, she becomes the Doctor, and she becomes a hero. And I think it worked so well, and Michelle played it so well. I just thought it was such a fantastic scene. But Missy, as a character, is possibly my favourite New Who character so far. So that is my top 5 moments from The Witch is Familiar. I hope you enjoyed it. You probably don't agree with what I said, but I would like to know your top 5 moments. Leave them in the comments below. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to subscribe, please do so. It would mean a lot. Let's check out my last video, my top 5 moments from The Magician's Apprentice. Please do so. But thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye. And everyone turns to the Supreme Dalek and they kill her. She doesn't teleport away with the vortex manipulator that slaves the Claras. it was fantastic. And then the TARDIS got blown up, Clara died, and then we saw the Doctor travel back to Skyro, back to the war, and go and attempt to shoot Davros, which if he does, will fuck everything up because it's a paradox. Which he had to go at Clara at. Fucking hell, he's a hypocrite. He had to go at Clara in the...